Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we have Juhi with us. So she is working in FDD department in RSM. She had qualified her CA in May 22 attempt. So let's hear more about her from Juhi.
Hi, Sudhanshu. So, Sudhanshu just mentioned that I'm currently working with RSM USI in Transaction Advisory Services. Previously, I have done my articleship from a CA firm in Gurgaon, Neeraj Bhagat and Company, and also I've completed my graduation from Shivaji College, University of Delhi. That's a brief about my professional journey. And today I'm here to discuss more about FDD.
Okay. So first thing, Juhi, when we say FDD, so is it that only candidates who have very good academic background will be preferred in this domain? Or anyone with a bit lesser mark, let's suppose 420, 410, will they also qualify or will be eligible for this particular role?
So I have scored 400 marks in my CA final examination, though I have qualified in my first attempt, but I just scored 400 marks. So many of my peers have discouraged me during that time that you won't be able to get into FDD or any good profile. So
Mhm.
I decided to work hard and get into this profile. So I pursued many different things. I started reading books around startups. I pursued a course in financial modeling. And while I gave interview in FDD, I already knew a lot of financial jargons, which helped me clear the interview in one go. So I don't think that marks would matter because you really need to work upon your skill sets. If you work upon your skill sets and improve them, then you can crack any interview easily. It's not that anyone who has got a rank or they have worked in Big Four can only get into a niche profile.
Okay, okay. So, what is the interview experience? Means the process that we go through if you are interviewing for FDD?
So when I gave my interview, there were three stages. The first one was a written test, which had MCQs, which were
Okay.
correlated to finance, like financial ratios, etc. And second round was a technical round in which there were questions related to my financial analysis part, like financial statements, cash flow statements, and there were questions related to various financial ratios and core aspects of FDD, like quality of earning, net working capital analysis. And
Mm-hmm.
I did prepare in advance. I did read a lot of topics related to FDD before appearing for the interview, so it gave me a edge in some way or the other.
Okay. मैंने KPMG
And
ग्लोबल का
after
दिया
that,
था टेस्ट. हम्म.
and after the technical round, when I qualified the technical round, there was another round with the director, in
हम्म.
which I had to give a brief about my articleship background, and there were some other technical questions related to revenue recognition or any other financial ratios, which did not go so well. So I didn't expect that I would get a call, but then I did get a call.
Okay, okay. So once I had given the examination for KPMG Globals. So आपने कभी वो दिया है क्या KPMG Globals का?
For FDD.
No, in general, in general.
No, no, no. I didn't appear for
Okay,
that.
okay. Actually, they also asked similar kind of questions in KPMG Globals test as well, although I was not able to clear it.
Hmm.
So, so
I think if you
hmm,
give any interview in finance, if there is a written test, then the questions majorly revolve around financial ratios, cash flow statement. So these are some common questions that are asked in these interviews and also in the test. So
okay,
anyone appearing for these interviews, they need to brush up their skills in finance.
okay, okay. So, Juhi, once someone get into this FDD industry, is it
Hmm.
possible for them to switch to other departments such as statutory, taxation, or any industry? Is it possible? Is
Hmm.
it very a smooth process to switch in, or there's a barrier?
I think people usually move from statutory audit to FDD, because in FDD, people who have stat audit background are usually preferred. And people usually go in FDD to move into other niche profiles like management consulting or investment banking. I have never heard or seen people moving from FDD to direct tax. That is a totally different combination, but it also depends upon the interest of people. So I don't think that they are linked to each other in any way. So I don't know if people can do that, but talking about investment banking or management consulting or any profile like FP&A in industry, so people usually switch into these kind of profile when they work in FDD.
ओके, तो आप और बेटर फील्ड में जाते हो, लाइक मैनेजमेंट कंसल्टिंग, इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकिंग.
I mean, FDD aligns with these profiles because your FDD experience would be considered when you go and interview in these profiles. But I'm not sure if the same works for DT because that is a totally different area of work. But obviously, I can think someone can switch from FDD to stat audit, since stat audit people are also preferred in FDD. So the vice versa would also be true. I think so.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay. So when we hear FDD, what exactly kind of work do we do in FDD profile? मतलब नाम सुन के तो बहुत भारी भरकम सा लगता है, काम भी कुछ वैसा ही है.
Since I have just worked here for 6 months, so I am going to tell about the work that I have done. So I've worked on both buy side and sell side due diligence. So basically, buy side due diligence is when you work with the buyer. If you understand it in a layman language, जब आप कुछ खरीदने जा रहे हो तो उसकी due diligence, ठीक है? So in buy side due diligence, the company that is purchasing or acquiring is basically our client. So we need to work and judge the value of the target company. And when we are doing sell side due diligence, we are basically working with the target company and preparing a due diligence report from them, from their perspective, to set a transaction value that is appropriate. So I have worked on workbooks in which I have prepared various financial analysis related to quality of earning, working capital analysis, and debt analysis, debt and debt-like items. So major financial analysis revolved around these items, but there are other things which are industry specific. So there are service line divisions in FDD like business professional services, financial services, TMT, consumer products, industrials, and some analysis are specific to these service lines.
Okay. So basically, you work in the quality of earnings, and
in FDD, there are various types of financial analysis that you prepare. So quality of earning is one of the major kind of analysis. It is one of the pillars of FDD in which you assess the adjusted EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization of the target company, and it helps us arrive at the correct transaction value.
So can you tell us any other kind of analysis that we do in FDD?
So there is also net working capital analysis, which is one of the core analysis, and where you arrive at the working, which everyone knows what working capital is, current asset minus current liability, and then you do some definitional adjustments and pro forma adjustments to it to arrive at the working capital position of the target.
Okay. If I take about the normal quality of earning, there was one instance that I came across in one of the companies. It was given that in one of the year, promoter did not take his salary. Okay. So while arriving at the normal income of that particular company, we reduced that salary that promoter would have drawn. So do you
obviously, because in normal circumstances, the promoter would have taken that salary. So it has inflated your income if you didn't reduce it because he didn't take it in that year. So you have to
Okay.
arrive at the normal earnings that would have been there if
Okay.
any extraordinary circumstances been not there. I think that
Okay.
is why you have reduced it.
Yeah. So I was just giving an example. This is how you normalize the income and the expenses of each of the companies, if whether you are in the buying side or you are at the selling side, right?
Yeah, there could be various examples of adjustments if we go in detail. This could be one of that which you gave right now. So we won't go in that much detail, like talk about particular adjustments. But there are various pro forma adjustments that you make to EBITDA, due diligence adjustments, and management adjustments to arrive at the adjusted EBITDA figures, and which is your quality of earning.
Okay. Yeah, got it. So we have already talked about the future aspect that FDD would be covering, right? The management
Hmm.
consulting, investment banking. So would you like to give
Usually people
any?
choose FDD to switch to other niche profiles. Usually people do that,
Mhm,
but some people also continue their career in FDD because it is also niche profile to work in. It's not that people do switch from FDD to other profiles. I have seen people who are continuously working in FDD since 20 to 25 years and who are
mhm,
partners with Big Four or any other Big Six. But I've also seen people switching to investment banking and management consulting because it's easier for them.
mhm. Okay, yeah.
So it depends
Um,
upon an interest.
okay, yeah. I got it. So, would you like to give any Excel tip to anyone who will be sitting for the FDD interviews?
And yeah, also I forgot to mention that if you are giving an FDD interview, there are probably chances that your Excel skills would be tested. So when I gave my interview, I don't remember exactly what I did, but I did something on my manager's laptop. She showed me some data to work on, and I did some cleaning related to the data to convert it into a separate. So you need to be aware about all the formulas, advanced level Excel formulas, when you appear for an interview in FDD, because they expect you to have a good Excel knowledge. Obviously, it's one of the
Mhm.
main skill they require in FDD. So they can ask about any formula or any tips in Excel which you need to be aware of.
Okay.
I think that's important in every most of the interviews we give nowadays. People expect us to have advanced level Excel knowledge.
Okay. Yeah. Good. So this is all I wanted to ask. Anything apart from this you would like everyone to know about the FDD profile?
I think that most of the people who want to go in FDD are not even aware that what is actually FDD, because since it's a very niche profile, people hear about it and they just want to go into it without knowing what it actually about is. So I think when you appear for the interview, you need to be very much aware about all the aspects that FDD covers and have some basic knowledge. Like, obviously, as a fresher, no one would expect you to know what work do we do in FDD, but people can have a basic knowledge related to financial ratios or financial statement analysis. I think that's the reason they prefer people with stat audit experience, because they do understand how to analyze a financial statement, and that's a basic skill they need in FDD. So I think that since people qualify CA and as a fresher they try to search jobs only in the niche profiles because their name is hyped in the market, but it's not so. Like, people should always focus on their interest areas rather than going on what other people are saying. And also, it's not that you can get into niche profiles only when you have a rank or when you have a good articleship background. I've got many questions on LinkedIn related to the fact that I have worked in a mediocre firm, so can I get an FDD? How can I get into FDD if I don't have any Big Four background? I don't think it's pertinent to have Big Four background. I obviously agree that it gives you an edge over other candidate because
Mhm.
they would obviously think you have a good exposure since you worked in Big Four. But if you have worked good on your skills and you have the knowledge, you have the basic knowledge, you know the questions, you know how to tackle the interview with your confidence, then you can get into any good profile.
Okay, yeah. I think this would have solved many of their queries.
Hmm. Because I usually get this on LinkedIn that we don't have any good experience, industrial training experience or anything. So how can we get into this profile, that profile? But I think if we have good communication skills, we are confident, and we have the basic knowledge about the profile we are trying to get into, then it's not that difficult. If you get an interview call, then obviously you can do anything and everything to crack it. It's not
Mm-hmm.
that your I only got 400 marks in finals, but that doesn't stop you from pursuing what you actually want to work in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
Yeah,
goes for everyone.
yeah, yeah, correct. Yes. So I think we can conclude, Joey. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your
Thank you, Sudhanshu.
experience.
Thank you.
Yeah.